The Parable of the Chinese Farmer. In a tranquil village nestled in the heart of ancient China, there lived a humble farmer named Wei. His life was simple, yet filled with a profound sense of balance and tranquility that puzzled his neighbors. Wei's farm was small, just enough to sustain him and his family. Despite the modesty of his life, he always seemed content, his face a canvas of calm serenity. One year, during the spring planting season, Wei's only horse ran away. This horse was not just any horse. It was a strong, reliable steed that Wei used to plow his fields. Without it, his planting would be delayed and his harvest threatened. The villagers, hearing the news, gathered around his home to offer their sympathies. "What bad luck!" they exclaimed, their faces etched with concern. "How will you plow your fields now?" Wei looked up from his work, a gentle smile on his face, and replied, "Maybe, maybe not." The villagers, baffled by his response, shook their heads and left, wondering how anyone could be so indifferent to such a misfortune. Days passed, and to everyone's astonishment, the horse returned. But it did not come back alone. It brought with it a herd of wild horses, each one strong and majestic. The villagers rushed to Wei's home, their faces now lit with excitement. "What wonderful luck!" they cried. "You are now a wealthy man." Wei, still calm and serene, nodded and said, "Maybe, maybe not." The villagers were even more puzzled. How could he remain so detached from such a windfall? But Wei's heart was steady, his mind unfettered by the highs and lows that life seemed to throw at him. As summer approached, Wei's son decided to tame one of the wild horses. He was a spirited young man, eager to prove his strength and skill. However, the horse was wild and unyielding. In a tragic turn of events, the horse threw him off and Wei's son broke his leg. Immobilized, he could no longer help with the farm work. The villagers, hearing of the accident, came again to offer their condolences. "What terrible luck," they said. "Your son is injured, and now you have even more burdens." Wei looked at his son, then at the concerned faces of his neighbors, and replied, "Maybe, maybe not." Autumn arrived, and with it, a decree from the emperor. War had broken out, and all able-bodied young men were conscripted to fight. The village was gripped by fear and sorrow as many families bid farewell to their sons, uncertain if they would return. But Wei's son, with his broken leg, was spared from the draft. Once more, the villagers gathered at Wei's home. "How fortunate you are," they said. "Your son is saved from the war." Wei, his eyes reflecting a deep, unshakable peace, responded, "Maybe, maybe not." As the years passed, the villagers began to see a pattern in Wei's responses. Whenever fortune or misfortune visited his life, he remained centered, never allowing himself to be swayed by the tides of circumstance. His wisdom became a beacon in the village, a reminder that life's events are not always as they seem. One winter, a severe storm struck the village. The icy winds howled through the night, and the heavy snow buried the fields and homes. Trees were uprooted, and the village's primary food store was destroyed. It was a disaster that threatened their very survival. The villagers were distraught, certain that they would starve before spring. Wei, however, remained calm. He gathered his family and told them to share what little they had with their neighbors. "We must endure together," he said. "Hardship can bring us closer, make us stronger." The villagers, inspired by Wei's generosity, began to support each other. They shared food, repaired homes, and kept each other warm through the harsh winter months. By spring, they had survived, their bonds strengthened by the adversity they faced together. As the years rolled by, Wei's farm continued to thrive, not because of his luck or misfortune, but because of his unwavering spirit and wisdom. He taught his children and grandchildren the value of resilience, compassion, and perspective. His philosophy of life was simple yet profound. Events themselves are neutral, but our reactions to them shape our reality. One day, a traveling monk visited the village. He had heard of the wise farmer and wished to learn from him. The monk asked, "Master Wei, how do you remain so calm and composed through all of life's challenges?" Wei smiled and led the monk to his fields, where the crops swayed gently in the breeze. "Life is like these fields," he said. "The wind may blow from the east or the west, bringing storms or gentle breezes. The crops may flourish or fail, but the earth remains constant beneath it all. Our minds must be like the earth, steady and grounded, regardless of what happens on the surface." The monk bowed deeply, understanding the depth of Wei's wisdom. He carried this lesson with him as he continued his journey, sharing the farmer's teachings with all he met. As Wei grew older, his wisdom spread beyond the village. Travelers from distant lands came to hear his teachings and learn from his calm demeanor. He became known as the sage of the village, a man who understood the essence of life and the art of balance. One day, as he sat under the shade of an ancient tree, his grandchildren gathered around him. They asked him to share the secret of his wisdom, the essence of his unshakable peace. Wei looked at their eager faces and said, "My dear children, life is a series of events, each one a thread in the tapestry of our existence. We cannot control the threads, but we can choose how we weave them together. Embrace each moment with an open heart and a balanced mind. Do not cling to joy nor despair in sorrow. Find the center within yourself and let it guide you through the dance of life." His words resonated deeply with them, planting seeds of wisdom that would grow and flourish long after he was gone. In his final days, Wei's health began to decline. The villagers who had come to see him as a pillar of their community were filled with sorrow. They gathered around his bedside, seeking his guidance one last time. "Master Wei," they asked, "how can we live without your wisdom and presence?" Wei, though weak, smiled gently. "My dear friends," he said, "my presence has been but a reflection of the wisdom within each of you. Remember that the same strength, the same calm, resides in your hearts. Life will continue to bring its joys and sorrows, its fortunes and misfortunes. Meet them all with the same balanced mind and open heart that you have seen in me." With those final words, Wei closed his eyes, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom that would endure for generations. The village, forever changed by Wei's teachings, continued to thrive. His philosophy of life became their guiding principle, a testament to the power of perspective and inner peace. And so, the story of the Chinese farmer, with its simple yet profound wisdom, was passed down through the ages, a timeless reminder of the art of living.